Hi, it's Ted, and it's election day in the United States of America. What the fuck is going to happen today? I just don't know. Pretty much up in the air. According to some people, going to be riots in the streets tomorrow, no matter who wins. Alright, we'll see. Well, this is a good day to talk about something that bugs me sometimes, and that is the way history is written and rewritten and revised and changed and manipulated. The history that's taught in history classes in school is, watered down bullshit. Students are taught, all the good little things like, the Pilgrims and the, how our founding fathers were wonderful people, and all of the watered down shit that everybody's heard. It's not something new. It's something that's always been taught in class. You don't find stuff out until you go to college. And you don't find out real history, the truth about history, until you actually start taking some serious history courses. And being a historian with a degree in history, I know how distorted and fucked up and unreal most of the history is that we know today. And so this morning I had a couple things on my mind. First of all, there's two elements in this behind the scenes history. There's two. There's one that is revisionist history. Revisionist history is stuff that's written and promoted by people who have an agenda. They start with a point of view, and then they work backwards with that point of view, and they take this fact out, and they put this fact in, and they weave a little story that's so far from the truth it's not even funny. And that's called revisionist history. And then there's those who dig for reality and truth. Not revisionism, but reality. And you need to know which is which. You need to understand where you are. You need to use your goddamn brain. And that's what this is about this morning. I ran across an article a couple of days ago that you see from time to time, and I see more often than not on this website. Oh, shit. What's the name of it? I forget. Anyway, it's a very anti-Israeli website. There's anti-Semitic, who hates Jews, people who just hate Jews. And then there's anti-Israeli, these people that are very set against stopping Israel, the country Israel, from controlling, and they claim that they have a lot more control than I think they do. But part of this thinking, this anti-Israeli thinking, is to go back and fuck with history. And one of the things they do that's just absolutely drives me insane. An article on a website called caroljaeger.com. It's like a blog site. I don't know who the hell she is, but I found it linked from that other website, whatever it was, What Really Happens or something like that. Anyway, the title of this article is Holocaust Revisionism in 60 Seconds. And this was published end of last month. But it says that revisionists believe that there was never an intent to kill the Jews. Rather, the Nazis simply wanted them out of the country, out of Germany. They believed that there were no homicidal gas chambers, and that the number of Jews who died during the war from all causes comes to less than 1 million, and perhaps only 500,000 or so. Now, why they would reach those conclusions, I don't know. They use little bits and pieces out of history. I read part of the article, and they do the same thing that Christian revisionism does. They piece together things and say, oh man, you might need to question this, you might need to question that. But I'm sitting here telling you these revisionists are full of shit. I had not one, not two, but 3 classes in European history. I had one on the Holocaust. I had one on the European theater of World War II, and I had one on Nazi Germany. That's what I studied in college, mostly World War II. I can tell you about that some other time and why. But that's what I studied. And the Holocaust happened. There was the final solution. It was mass murder. And it wasn't just the Jews either. It was gypsies. It was mentally disabled people. And it was Russians, Bolsheviks, that were subjected to this murderous attitude of the Nazis. So that's revisionism. And then those guys, then there's the guys that I've run across a couple of their articles lately too, who start looking into history and finding out truth, and then try to kind of twist it a little bit to make their point of view that we're all fucked because there's something going on behind the scenes. Well, there is something going on behind the scenes, and we probably are fucked. But then you got to observe the history. You have to look at history for what it is. You can't throw judgments on it until you understand it and what the hell's going on. And what I'm talking about is specifically, I ran across an article a couple of weeks ago about Pearl Harbor, and that FDR knew it was going to happen and did nothing. And that's true. It wasn't that the Japanese called and said, we're going to blow Pearl Harbor up, and FDR said, okay, have at it. But, it was not far off from that. And the reason he did that is the same reason that Johnson let the Gulf of Tonkin happen. It was staged to push the American public into the Vietnam War, and then shit, look at what Georgie boy did. The 9/11 thing pushed us right into this, oh shit, we're going to be attacked all the time mentality. And then he even had to go further with the dumb bullshit about the WMDs in Iraq when there weren't any, and they knew it. And that's what presidents and governments do to manipulate us. FDR knew he would not get us into that war if something didn't kick us in the ass. He also knew that Germany was not going to kick us in the ass because Hitler wasn't quite that stupid or fanatical. And the Japanese were fanatical enough to go ahead and do it. And you have to understand this history. You have to understand how people's minds work. You have to understand how the Japanese mind worked, how the Nazi Germany, Hitler's mind worked, and of course Italy was just kind of a tag-along. Mussolini was an idiot. He was just a tag-along. He didn't last very long. But and if you don't see the inside workings of those governments, you won't see why what FDR did. It looks tragic. It looks stupid. It looks anti-American. But the fact is, nobody could have survived the world except for a small few. If the Germans had won, or the Japanese had won. And if they had won, if the Allies had lost, guess who'd have been going to war next? The Japanese and the Germans. Because their politics were incompatible too. There was no love lost between the Japanese and the Germans. They just, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we have Holocaust rewriters. You have people that say this didn't happen, that didn't happen. Or you have religious revisionists who say that this was a Christian country, all of our founders were Christians. And what they're trying to do is prove a point that doesn't have any truth or validity. And then you have people who are telling you the damn truth and then kind of twisting a little bit. Just learn the fucking truth, people. That's what's important. Today is a historic day. What the hell happens? Shit, I don't know. No, I don't have any idea. I'm befuddled. Romney's going to win Texas. There ain't no question about that. So is our fucking idiot congressman going to win. There's not even anybody running against him that I know of. I don't know. I haven't seen any ads. But, the Republican idiots are going to win here. This is, I live in the middle of enemy territory. Nationwide, beats me. Don't know what's going to happen. There's been fraud, and there's been lies, and there's been manipulation all the way through. And what happens today, I don't know. But what you need to find out about today and what has happened yesterday and the day before and last year And all the way back, you know, what the fuck happened on 9/11? I got an email. All the way back to World War II and everything, all the way back. Find out what the truth was and figure out why. That's why I started college in the first place, to understand the truth. And then I got into history because it didn't make any goddamn sense. And it started making sense. And now I sit here on the front porch going, you people are driving me nuts, because you're not listening. Because you're taking people's words for it, because you're spending your whole damn life watching bullshit reality shows and listening to the corporate media and ignoring everything that's true. There is a truth, and there is a reality. And if you don't learn it, if we don't learn it as a people, we're fucked. And my own personal opinion, having studied this shit for 30 years and watched it all happen, we're fucked. People are sheep. People will be pushed into wars by lies. Whether it's a justified war or not, whoever's on top is going to shove the people around like a bunch of sheep. Because sheep ain't got no brain. Sheep are stupid. And I wish I could fix that. But I can't. So what you have to do is learn how to survive within, you know, whatever's happening, I guess. There isn't a hope, people. There's not. Sucks, but it's true. Stay tuned. There's another one coming today. Okay? Bye.